Hi, I'm Dr. Stein, founder of MHS, home of the EQI 2.0 universe. At MHS, we help talent development professionals, like yourself, leverage our understanding of emotional intelligence to help improve performance. In the nearly 40 years I've spent working in the psychological testing and assessment space, a lot has changed. While we've moved on from the days of paper and pencil and floppy disk assessments, one constant remains: human connection. What does it take for you to truly connect with the person you're debriefing, and how can you make sure they're getting the most out of their session? What can you do to break through things like disagreement and conflict that may come up? How can you navigate the potentially awkward situation of debriefing a colleague, and how can you add value to your debrief sessions in a way that helps create a path for future development and growth? I'm going to run through some of the most common challenges people face during an EQI 2.0 debrief and give you some helpful tips on how to navigate these situations tactfully and successfully. So, you've generated a report, you're getting prepped for your debrief, and you've got a pretty good idea of your client's emotional intelligence profile. They've expressed to you that they're open to receive feedback and want to focus on areas they can improve in. Let's say, in this case, it appears their lowest score falls under interpersonal skills, specifically empathy. You've got some questions prepared for them, and you know you want to get a sense of how they perceive their skills in this area. But as soon as you reach that part of their debrief, your client is argumentative and doesn't agree with their score. What do? This is a scenario that is not uncommon during debriefs. There often can be a rift between how someone perceives themselves or even understands their skills in relation to a concept versus their result as it appears on a subscale. Here are some best practices I like to go through when clients challenge or disagree with a score. First, start by redefining the subscale. In this case, let's use our example of empathy. How does this person define empathy? Have them describe a situation where they thought they were being empathic. In this example, clients can often confuse sympathy with empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share a person's feelings. If you're an empathic person, you can listen to what someone else has to say without judgment. Sympathy, on the other hand, doesn't mean you feel what someone else feels. A sympathetic approach only provides a surface-level understanding of someone else's situation. This understanding is typically from your perspective, not theirs. Sympathy usually takes the form of an I statement as opposed to a you statement. For example, "I'm sorry about your loss" is not the same as "You must be feeling pretty lonely right now." So while this person may feel like they have a high level of empathy, what they may be practicing is sympathy. This kind of misalignment of definition can happen for any subscale. So make sure you're on the same page in defining what a subscale means according to the EQI 2.0 model before moving forward. Once you've established a mutual understanding of how a subscale is defined, ask more questions. Now that we agree on how this subscale is defined, according to the EQI 2.0 model, ask for examples of how your client shows empathy. Now there's an opportunity to point out potential gaps in behavior that don't align with how the subscale defines empathy. If your client still doesn't have a good understanding of how the subscale is defined, read them a few sample items to clarify for them how the subscale was measured. Another typical comment we get around scoring disagreement is with regards to the actual test answers themselves. You might hear something like, "Well, I answered 5 on everything. How could I have a low empathy score?" Some items included in the assessment are reverse scored items, meaning these items are worded in a way where a 5 indicates a lack of endorsement of the item. Careless responding or speeding through the questions without reading them properly could be a reason why this is happening. Check to see if a time flag was raised or if inconsistent item pairs were highlighted in the coach's report. If yes, then this could lead to some questions about the conditions under which the person took the test. Were they distracted or interrupted? Revisit some of the items where the responses don't seem to fit with the overall profile for more insights. Since we've just discussed how clients can sometimes try to answer the test in a certain way to achieve a specific result, let's talk about what happens when you see a validity indicator flag. While your initial thought might be that the results of the assessment are not valid, first, take a closer look at why those validity flags are appearing. Some of the most common reasons a validity flag can appear are they were trying to appear overly virtuous and answered everything in what they believed was a more socially acceptable way. Another reason may be that in item 133, the last item, they indicated that they were not completely honest in their previous responses. Seeing a validity flag doesn't mean the results are invalid, but it is an additional layer to explore with your client during the debrief. Let's change gears. Let's talk about clients who might question the value of emotional intelligence. The EQI 2.0 is a scientifically validated psychometric assessment which measures emotional intelligence and how it can impact people and the workplace. While emotional intelligence isn't the sole predictor of human performance and development potential, it is well demonstrated to be a key indicator in these areas. Emotional intelligence is also not a static factor. We know that emotional intelligence can change over time and can be developed in targeted areas. A key part of how this development can take place is through action planning. When your client sees a thorough and well thought out action plan, you'll help draw connections for them so they can see how developing their emotional intelligence will help them overall, as well as strengthen and develop their skills. Need help with action planning? Check out the EQI 2.0 workbook, written by Master Trainer Heil Rutledge. The EQI 2.0 workbook, From Awareness to Action, is designed to support a thorough and actionable introduction to emotional intelligence. With over 175 specific and detailed suggested development actions, the workbook allows any reader or user to select an appropriate goal that will help with their growth and development. Debriefs are an essential part of the EQI 2.0 process. They're what help clients clearly see the path to growth and development. The tips and advice I've outlined in this video are a great starting point for handling sometimes challenging situations that can arise during debriefs. But I hope the biggest tip you take away from today is truly making sure you're creating a meaningful connection between yourself and your client. Make sure to check out the other video we've created in this series, focused on creating a solid development journey for your client. And for more EQI 2.0 related resources, make sure to check out the resource section and the user's manual in the Talent Assessment portal. Happy debriefing.